just a brief background, no? We did this 3-day meditation because I got to talk to one of our fellow teachers, and when I asked her personally how she is, she said that I'm okay, but I'm also like not as okay. And I've been hearing that across the board, either through students or fellow teachers. And it just alerted me that we as teachers actually also need this kind of support. Okay? And that's why we came about with this. The support that we need in order for us to give of ourselves as teachers is something that needs to be recognized. That's, hey Joe, I'm sorry. That we need to recognize that we are also going through this pandemic and that we are also trying to traverse the situation that we are currently in. And so with that, we are hoping to build community amongst our teachers, and it's in our 9th year. And so this is like a way for us to give back to us as teachers, a way to support each and every one of us as we go through this ambiguous situation that we are currently in. And it's probably harder because the uncertainty is just there. It's like we're hanging in suspension and not really knowing when, where, how this will all end. And so with that, I was hoping that this will help us also deal with our personal challenges, all right? That we will have tools to use for our own self-care because we cannot give from an empty cup, all right? And with that, find a comfortable seat, all right? Um, Making sure you're upright. And I'm talking to you as fellow teacher, and I know you know how to go about self-care tools for yourselves. But sometimes it's just nice to have someone take care of us, someone to nurture us, someone to support us. And whatever it is that we are, currently going through in our personal lives, know that we are all in this together and that we are connected, and it's just a matter of wading through that space right now. Okay? And so with that, see if you can lift the flesh of your glutes up, feel your sit bones, sitting tall, drawing your lower belly in, engaging your center to hold you upright. And then as you do that, see if you can then drop in by moving your chin down, lengthening the back of the neck, and then gazing at the tip of the nose or down towards the ground, or if closing your eyes is accessible for you, then by all means, do so. And as you take this moment to just check in with yourself, just recognize how you are. Feel the sensations in your body. Feel the different areas that might feel constricted, tight, restricted, or maybe they're feeling open and light. And as you notice these areas, see if you can invite your breath to come in and go to those places. As you stay here, just noticing, recognizing these sensations, and allowing the sensations to be as they are without any commentary, without any judgment, and just allowing. I have been studying this program with Eckhart Tolle, and he said that consciousness is being able to differentiate the big I and the little I. And as yoga teachers, we all know this. But sometimes we forget because we're also human. And so the difference between the big I and the little I is that dot in the little I that separates that line. It's the space surrounding that dot that we've created in our heads or in our minds that creates separation between us. And as you notice that space surrounding the dot in the little I, take a moment to acknowledge that little I is our ego. Ego is good when it's healthy and strong and open and compassionate. It is through our ego that separates us from the universal consciousness that connects us to that which is real, the ultimate, the supreme, the divine, the Atman, or that, whatever it is that we call that universal consciousness. And so as we allow our thoughts to either keep into our breath, letting that breath flow fluidly, without restriction, without control, just acknowledging that flow. And as we acknowledge that flow, awareness comes in. The power of awareness is the ability to pause and recognize. And as you create that pause, see where it relates in your body. Are there sensations that are arising, either on your knees, your hips, your lower back, the pit of your belly, maybe that space underneath the rib cage, or maybe that space on top of your ribs, or maybe even on your shoulders, on your neck. Notice also the jaw. And as you take a moment to pause and recognize these spaces, acknowledging them, creating space around them, and just feeling them. We are yoga teachers and we know that we are saying all these to our students, but sometimes it's also that moment of self-reflection that we tend to forget as we do our practice, as we do our movements in our vinyasas, or as we lay in our shavasana. And so take a moment now to let all your words seep into your consciousness. All these words that we say to our students, to the community we've built, let that flow back to you. And as you sit here, feeling all these vibrations in your body, the pulsations in your hands, the rhythm of the breath, the rising and the falling of the chest, the belly. Maybe even go a little bit more subtle towards your emotions. Allowing these emotions to just be as it is, not relegating them to some other place, not pushing them down, just acknowledging them. But we are also human and we also need nurturing space. We also need the community and the support that these practices we give to others is also important to have for ourselves. And as you allow yourselves that permission to receive, let the breath direct your thoughts. And as you acknowledge these sensations, these emotions, if you need to move, like you want to straighten your knee, you want to straighten your legs, you're welcome to do that. You don't have to be strict. You don't have to, keep to that idea that we need to be still. And as we all know this from our training, we have these different sheets in our system. The most physical form of that sheet is the body, the Annamaya Kosha. Then we move a little subtler to our Pranayama Kosha, where the energetic body is, which is our breath, our vitality, our sense of wellness. And then moving a little bit more subtly to the Manomaya Kosha, which is our emotional sheet. Can we go to that place and acknowledge all these emotions, the challenges that we are currently in, and just let them be? There is no shame in acknowledging these emotions. As Tara Brach from the Power of Awareness said, sometimes we are in a trance of unworthiness, that feeling of not being good enough, that feeling of fearing failure, of are we doing enough? And when we commit to recognizing those emotions, those feelings, we're giving it away, we're giving it our attention. And when we give that emotion the attention it deserves, you're allowing that emotion to dissolve naturally on its own. And so take a moment to do that. Recognizing, acknowledging, accepting that we don't need to hold everything together. There are times for that. There are also times for just letting go, letting be. And that's the twofold of doing and being. And so now is a moment of being. Can we sit with that? Can we investigate? Can we inquire? Are these emotions or are these mental thoughts, these chatter, true? This trance of unworthiness, this sense of not being good enough, is it true? We all have a light within us. And that light is what we're trying to reveal is what we're trying to encourage so that we can fill up the world with brilliance. It does not make sense to hide our light. That hiding is actually a selfish gesture of the little ego, of the little I. And so if you just recognize, accept, and even question, are these chatters in our heads, that sense of unworthiness, really is something worth our while? And so as you question that, maybe take a moment to just feel it in your body. Where is the sensation in your body? Is it in your lower belly? Is it in your upper belly? Is it in a sense of stiffness on your shoulders or on your neck? Is it a heat, a searing heat that goes through you? Or is it something cold? And as you just recognize and acknowledge these, see how can you nurture that space. We are all looking for love, belonging, acceptance. That's why we're human. And so that acknowledgement that we are all searching for that allows us to feel connection amongst each and everyone. And so I would like to invite you to gently open your eyes. And as you open your eyes, look at the gallery screen of your devices. And as you look at the faces on the screen, see how each is a manifestation of your form. As you look into each cube right now, because we're not together, this is how we now communicate. This is how we come into community. See how you are reflected in each and every face that you see on the screen. That we are a manifestation of each and every one. That this form, that physical form that we are currently inhabiting, is a mirror of each and every one of you here, seated. And that is just so profound. And if we can appreciate the faces, the pictures that we see on our devices, and that we see ourselves in each and every one of us here, then we know that that connection truly transcends time and space. And as you let that happen, remembering the faces on the screens, gently invite your eyes to close. And as you remember the faces that you've seen on the screens, how is each and every one of you reflected in those faces? How do we see our I, the capital one, that divine, ultimate, supreme Atman? And as you go back to remembering the faces you see on your devices, see if you can invite a gentle smile to happen within you. And that smile recognizes the light that we all carry. And as we carry that, we go back to the next sheath, the Vignamaya Kosha. That as we see each other there is wisdom, there is our buddhi, and that we're all connected, even in the distance, even with the differences, even with the challenges. We are all connected. And that when one hurts, one feels the hurt. When one feels joy, everyone feels the joy. And imagine if we all let our light come into brilliance, then it would be better for this world. Better for the people that we live in, our housemates. Better for the people that we work with. Better for the students we relate to. The community we've built. And as we allow that idea of connection, of that thread, see if we can find the capital I, the self, the Atman, the Supreme, whatever we may call it. And that all of that resides in us. And as you take that moment to just really consider how we are, the challenges we face, go back to the tools you have. If you need to come back to the breath, if you need to come back to recognizing the self, the sensations, the emotions, the chatter in our heads, creating that sense of pause, that sense of awareness, that sense of consciousness. And as we listen to the internal dialogue we have in our heads, maybe ask ourselves, is it really true? The trance of unworthiness, the trance of fear, of guilt, of shame, of anger, of grief, of sadness. And usually people are more like they need control. We need to know what is next, what will happen. And is it really difficult to not know? And as we go through this time, this uncertain time we are in, even if in the Philippines we are now in GCQ, the numbers are still rising. And so there's still uncertainty, there's still ambiguity. How we know life as it was is no longer what it is. Are we finding resistance to that? Can we yield to the unknown? Can we allow this resistance to wash out and over us? Can we invite grace to happen within us? And so just taking that moment to acknowledge, accept, and surrender, giving it your fullest attention. You might want to change your position. You may lie down on your back, come into Shavasana. You may remain seated. Whatever it is that will help you come to a fullest sense of surrender. I'd like to invite you to come into that shape, in that position. And as you allow that to help the body Feel the support it needs. See where you can, again, move your attention on the sensations in the body. That feeling of support underneath you, the ground, the mat, the wall, your props, your bolster, your chair. And allowing that space of just being. Can we unhook ourselves from these chatters in our heads? Can we unhook our heart from these emotions that are probably challenging us? Can you allow your light, my light, to shine? Can I allow that feeling of I am okay, I am safe, I am free, I am happy, to be generated across the faces that you see or that you saw on the screen? Loka samasta, may all beings be happy and free. Can you have that felt in your body? Can you have that felt in your heart? Can you have that felt in your mind? And with that, I'll leave you to a few moments of quiet, and I'll ring the sound of the Tibetan bowl when our session is done. As you listen to the sound, let it penetrate your cells, your system, your being. And slowly, when you're ready, gently blinking your eyes open, moving your toes, your fingers, using the breath. If you're laying on your back, slowly roll to the side, gently come into a seated. If you're seated, maybe just move around, relaxing the knee, the hip, the neck, the shoulders. And then coming into a place where you're back to facing the devices, placing your hands together in your heart, closing your eyes, taking a moment to acknowledge we are all connected, we are all safe, and we are here together. May we let our light shine brightly, brilliantly. with gratitude for the practice and with all its gifts to us. We bow down. Namaste.